the Hormuz war escalates, both Iran and the U.S. claim to be guardians of the crucial waterway. In a first, U.S. forces have used sea drones in combat operations. Iran has unleashed its advanced ballistic missile arsenal. It fired monster missiles on American bases, including the Fatah and Kebeshakan. According to the IRGC, it hit the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain Air Base in Jordan as well. Trump now saying the Strait of Hormuz is open to all except Iran. The 20% reimbursement fee replaced with the trade deals. A lot has happened in just the last 24 hours. In fact, the U.S. military has carried out that third night of strikes against Iran earlier after President Donald Trump said he is reinstating its blockade of Iranian shipping. Remember, Trump earlier declared the United States would ensure the Hormuz Strait is open and said it would be charging a fee. And here's how Iran has been responding to that announcement earlier in developments that have been crucial. The Iranian foreign minister also earlier put out this post. I'm quoting, "The President of the United States is absolutely right. Whoever provides secure and safe passage of commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz should be compensated for this service. Iran has always been the guardian of the strait and will remain so forever. 20% is, of course, too much. We will be fair." Note the sentiment in that statement. But you see, that's just one layer to this complex cycle and the series of developments. In fact, Trump is also demanding that the Gulf allies reimburse America for the costs of securing the strait. That's what he had said earlier. In fact, he specifically named Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait as countries that need to pay. In fact, the world has long considered the strait, which passes the coastlines of Iran as well as Oman, as a free-to-use international waterway. Both Iran and the U.S. want to control it. In fact, according to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, established in 1982, remember, no country has the right to claim international waters and all ships have the right of unimpeded passage. But then still, both Iran and America have been using their tactics and tools to try and exert control, pressure. Earlier, the International Maritime Organization also reacted, saying that passage through the strait should remain free of any tolls and charges in accordance with the international law. And as the two sides engaged in that high-voltage tussle for control over the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. launched strikes on Iran after President Trump vowed to reinstate the American blockade of Iranian ports. Iran responded with attacks on West Asia allies of the U.S. In fact, in a first, U.S. forces also used naval drones in combat operations. The U.S. military said it used one-way attack sea drones for the first time in combat in an attack on an Iranian naval port. The U.S. Central Command has said using multiple one-way attack surface drones, CENTCOM forces struck a submarine and ship maintenance facility in Iran. 3 unmanned surface vessels hit the port at Bandar Abbas Naval Base, marking the first time American forces have employed sea drones in combat operations. A video released by CENTCOM showing an aerial view basically of 3 small sea drones speeding towards a raised dock that appeared to be holding a small submarine and then exploding. Watch those images. Now, it has been unclear from the video how much damage was actually caused, but there were plumes of smoke. That was the video that CENTCOM had put out. The last blast also appeared to cause a large fire. A lot of significance as far as these visuals are concerned. Remember, Ukraine has also made extensive use of naval drones against Russian ships in the Black Sea. For Kiev, inexpensive naval drones have been a game changer. The Central Command identified the sea drones used in the attack on Sunday. Let's tell you more about what is known as of now reportedly as far as these drones are concerned, the sea drones as they are being called. A 24-foot-long unmanned boat, basically. It was reportedly the same type of boat used to rescue the 2-person crew from a U.S. Apache helicopter gunship that went down near the Strait of Hormuz last month. that was said to be the first U.S. rescue carried out by an autonomous surface vessel. In fact, it can reportedly travel at speeds of up to 35 knots and can also carry a load of up to 1,000 pounds, more than 1,000 nautical miles. That's what is known right now as far as these sea drones are concerned. They have been used by the U.S. for the first time in such an attack. Meanwhile, as the entire region also grapples with an increasingly precarious situation, as of now, Bahrain and Jordan earlier said they had intercepted new Iranian attacks on Tuesday as Tehran retaliated with the missiles and drones across the region. The UAE said at least 2 tankers came under Iranian fire in the Strait of Hormuz. So a lot has been happening across the region. Earlier, Iran also said U.S. strikes hit an Iranian border area near Iraq and Kuwait as the fighting between the two sides continued. Meanwhile, India summoned Iran's senior diplomat in New Delhi to protest against attacks on 2 commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz that killed an Indian seafarer and injured several others. India summoned the Iranian deputy ambassador in New Delhi today after an Indian seafarer was killed when Iran struck 2 UAE-owned tankers reportedly in the Strait of Hormuz. The move coming as India expressed concern over the safety of its large seafaring community, with thousands of Indian nationals working on merchant vessels across the region. Indian officials have condemned the attack, which took place on Monday in Omani territorial waters, reportedly. Meanwhile, the U.S. military's official tally of deaths in the Iran war has risen to 14 service members, reportedly, with the deaths of a Navy pilot in a helicopter crash in early July in the Arabian Sea, as reported. The number of injured troops from the conflict also has grown to more than 400 as of Monday. That's what the figures look like. According to the spokesman for the U.S. Central Command, the majority of them suffered traumatic brain injuries. The U.S. Central Command did not quite offer any details reportedly on the specific airman, but traumatic brain injuries that have defined most of the injuries in the war are an increasingly persistent problem among combat forces, especially those subjected to missile strikes and explosions that hit nearby, reportedly. And while the injury, along with post-traumatic stress disorder, has become one of the signature wounds among veterans of the post-9/11 era, the impact on the troops, especially long-term, are still poorly understood as of now, reportedly. In fact, America threatening to exert pressure, both sides have been using their tactics as far as the crucial waterway is concerned. But will America and Iran's strategy work, and in which direction? Experts reportedly also commenting on America's tactics, saying it will require a much bigger armada, if not tens of thousands of American troops, for example. Will Trump or Iran back down? Or will we see further volatility in the region with ripple effects around the world? To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.